Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where today I am literally bursting with excitement because of this. I'm here in Spain with Magna Supercars and never ever in my wildest imagination did I think that one day I might get an opportunity to drive this car. But thanks to the very kind owner, today I have the key in my hand and I've got to double check this, to the Lamborghini Aventador J. To the best of my knowledge, this is an exclusive. Never before has the driving experience of this one-of-one car ever been shared. And today, I'm going to be getting behind the wheel in an epic convoy of hypercars down to Puerto Banus. It's a one-off. It's a car that I remember being introduced. I was there back in March 2012 at the Geneva Motorshow, absolutely blown away by what Lamborghini had made with this. I've seen it a couple of times since. In fact, about 3 and a bit years ago at the Door Group Day at Hockenheim, the car was there and just seeing it again blew my mind. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I was down here in the Costa del Sol region for Supercar Owners Circle. The car was presented, and I spent a bit of time chatting with both Magna Supercars and the owner, and somehow I find myself here right now about to step in it. As you know, when it comes to these hyper-exclusive cars, I am a bit fanatical about them. The few-off and one-off Lamborghinis, and all of the cars you can see on Exclusive Car Registry. But this, well, it came after the Reventon. That was Lamborghini's first few-off, effectively a precursor to the Murcielago SV, 20 coupes, 15 roadsters. Then there was the Sesto Elemento, based on the Gallardo platform, before this arrived. Only one of them in the world. A year later, we saw the introduction of the Veneno, one of 3 coupes, and then the Veneno Roadster, of which there were 9. Since then, we've also had the Centenario Roadster, Sian Roadster, and even the new Countach. But when it comes to one-offs, Lamborghini have not exactly made many. This was effectively the first customer one-off car. Then there was the SC18 Alston, the Squadra Corsa 2018. We also had the SC20, which was in many ways a follow-up to this, and a car that I've actually privately seen before, but don't have anything that I'm allowed to share. Cameras were off that day. And then most recently, also the Invencible and also Authentica, the latest final 2 special Aventadors. This car is based on the Aventador platform, but let me show you around it in more detail before we're getting it started and going for the drive. Let's take a quick minute to explore this. It's not every day you get this opportunity, and there's a lot to take in. This car is wild today, but back when it was introduced over a decade ago, it was absolutely bonkers. The entire world stopped and took notice of what Lamborghini were doing. The name Aventador J stands, of course, for Aventador, launching a year after the original model and being based on the LP700-4, and J, where you have these designations, for example here on the flicks at the end of the front splitter, represents 2 things in fact. The first is Jota, paying tribute to the 1970 Miura Jota, which was Lamborghini's lightweight, track-focused, dripped-out version of the Miura supercar, but also the FIA's Appendix J, which defines the technicalities for the different race classes. And of course this, without a roof, without a windshield, in fact also without a navigation system, speaker system, air conditioning, is significantly lighter than the standard car. And just look at the design of it, painted in this stunning, very bright, multi-layer pearlescent red paintwork called Rosso J, as you can imagine, unique for the car, with the bridge that runs all the way through the center, the periscope rear view mirror, completely open, gone is the windshield, gone is the roof. Back here, beneath the carbon fiber brace, you have the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12, making 700 horsepower, permanent all-wheel drive, the ISR automated manual gearbox, 21-inch wheels at the rear, 20 at the front, including these carbon fiber blades to help with brake cooling, center locks installed as well, and the design, this wing at the back on the rear deck, completely new look, all to help with cooling and airflow through the back of the car. We'll take a better look inside in a moment, but you've got these low-cut slung windshields wrapping around each separate compartment, completely new materials used in here as well. In fact, the forged composite carbon fiber that you can see for the seats is something that's gone on to be found in multiple Lamborghini models since. It was introduced initially with the Sesto Elemento, but went into production cars as well, like the Huracan Performante. We also have this carbon skin used for the technical fabrics over the dashboard and into the door cars, with the carbon fiber finish on the top of it as well. Then opening the door. Dihedral doors open upwards, based around the carbon fiber tub, but heavily reworked inside here compared to the original Aventador, with the way that this painted section comes all the way through the cabin. We've got the fixed 4-point harnesses, very familiar setup with the steering wheel, the shift paddles on the back, 2 digital screens either side of the rev counter as well inside. But in a moment, we're going to be starting this, heading out with the Chiron 300 Plus and some of the other cars, and this is about to be absolutely crazy. I think it's time to take a seat in here for the first time in the Aventador J. Carefully does it. Gosh. This is about to be crazy, and my hair is going to be everywhere, desperately in need of a haircut. Oh, this feels a little bit bizarre. Pull the door down. Oh. Okay, deep breath. The Chiron has gone. The SLR Sterling Moss is going now. Turn on the ignition. Let's wake this up. Here we go. My heart is absolutely racing right at this moment. Press the magic button. Okay. Right, here we are. Aventador J. Let me shuffle the steering column. I can see it's a huge car. It's about 4.90 meters long. Make sure I'm fully comfortable. Into gear. And let's start maneuvering the Aventador J. Here we go then, on the road in the Aventador J. Let me pop the lift system back down, completely open, feeling the evening breeze here in Marbella for this drive. Now, at the moment I've got the car in automatic. With automated manual gearboxes, I always love to press manual, be in control myself. We're in Strada, but this effectively is like an Aventador. It's like an LP700, but I feel the wind in my hair. It's a little bit different. Let me pop it into sport mode, which just has the exhaust valves opened. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, the cracks. And meanwhile, I've got the SLR Sterling Moss behind me, the Chiron Supersport 300 Plus in front of me. In front of that, the Desert Sand Hoffler G63. And we're driving down to the port in Puerto Banus. This is a dream come true right now. This makes no sense. But thanks to the owner of these superb cars, this and the Chiron, and an amazing collection, here we are. So we've got a speed bump. I don't know if I need the lift system, but I'm using it anyway because better to be safe than sorry in this. Of course, during the iterations of the Aventador, the SV, SVJ, Ultimate, and everything that's happened along the way, and even the introduction of the Centenario and the Sian and the Countach, things have evolved, things have got sharper, the gearbox, for example. But the original intention was that this was a concept. It was never originally going to be sold, but it had so much attention and interest in it that it actually sold before the show even began, just by VIP customers knowing what was coming, what Lamborghini were working on. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the clutch and the gearbox is the smoothest in the world, because let's be real, it's an automated manual on a big V12 lump, but this is about the experience. This is about driving what for me is an absolute icon, a poster car of a generation, the Lamborghiniest of Lamborghinis, the car that really triggered everything with the Aventador, the successive models that came after it. And we're just on a gentle cruise here in the evening sunshine in Spain in this thing. This is absolute madness. I'm driving the J. the Yota, the Aventador J, the wind in the hair. And I've been lucky to drive the Monza, the Elva, the V12 Speedster, but this is like, I mean, this takes us back. This is nearly 12 years old. And I'm beaming from ear to ear, just being in this thing, knowing where we're heading and all the cars that are going to greet us at the end as well of this drive. What on earth is life right now? I'm sorry if it gets very boring, but thank you to the owner of this car for this opportunity. I can't say thank you enough, because to be able to share more of this unicorn is such an honor and a privilege that I can't quite get my head around it. And here we are, you know, the wind in the face, and I'm sure at high speed this would be quite intense. You do have these windscreens, but there's a whole lot of airflow above this kind of height. Above my mouth, it's all quite breezy, and the hairstyle is definitely going to be interesting at the end of this. And I mean, this is a car that's utterly priceless. You can't put a price tag on it. It was rumored to be 2.3 million euros new, but now, is it 10 times that? Is it? I don't even have a clue. We're gonna go down through a little tunnel. I don't know whether I want to be in first gear. I've got to. It has all of the brutal characteristics of the Aventador, the model on which it's based. But you know it's something so much more special. The rarity, the story behind it, the exclusivity, everything around this. We're arriving down towards the area where we're coming to tonight's event, part of the Concurso de Elegancia here in the Costa del Sol, with the most unbelievable hypercar lineup that we've had over the last couple of days. This event is really one to watch and one to be part of. And I mean, there's a crowd of people ahead. I'm not surprised because of the cars that have been arriving and pulling in this evening. You name it, we're about to see them all. And I'm driving in this. The owner has allowed me to drive the star of the show. Wherever this thing goes, it is the car of that event. I mean, just the feeling of idling, sitting in traffic, everybody hanging out of cars, grabbing their cameras. Well, this is a little bit wild. Never, when I first came car spotting here, what, 11 or so years ago, I remember filming an SLR Sterling Moss here, did I ever think that I might one day be driving this car here, of all places, followed by the cars that I am currently followed by. That's probably the secondary crazy part of it. But in we go, in we drive, here to the port, following the G-Wagon, driving the J, driving exactly as I'm instructed to drive at the moment, knowing that there's water behind me. Slow and steady does it. There we go, we are parked. Park brake on before I do anything. My first drive in the Lamborghini Aventador J, here in the Marbella sunshine, down to the port. I mean, there's another Chiron Supersport just there, and the P1, and the Veyron, and the Porsche 925, and La Ferrari. This is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Flap up, switch it off, a moment of peace and quiet, and the most ridiculous experience to drive a car like this in a hypercar convoy like this. Like, mind is blown. Mind is absolutely blown. What a thing. What an opportunity to share it with you guys. Well, when it comes to impressive lineups of very special cars, just look at this here on the port in the marina at Puerto Banus. The yacht's just here as well with the sun setting And in fact, I've parked the Aventador J just there next to the Ferrari 250 California Spider. That's unbelievably special. We've then got the Bugatti Chiron Supersport in the bright white paint here, but this car, as you can see from right there, is a one-of-one by Hermes in Paris. Hermes supplying the leather for the interior. Next to that is McLaren P1 chassis number 1, the first of the 375 P1 chassis. This is actually in SLR blue. It's quite similar to the cerulean blue that I've had on a few of my McLarens, but there's more chrome to it, if I can say that. You probably can't quite tell on the video, but it looks amazing, especially with the bright silver wheels. We then have a pair of Bugatti Veyron Grand Sports, the original 16.4 1001 horsepower Bugatti Veyrons, very distinct specifications, but the Grand Sport wears this glass Targa roof panel that you can pop off. There are only 150 of them in total, and this car, by the way, is an exposed blue carbon fibre for all of the upper sections, quite hard to see with the dimming light. We've then got a pair of Martini vehicles, the Ducati Bike and the Porsche 935, and in fact the follow-up in many ways to this has just been launched, the new GT3R Rennsport, but this was based on the GT2 RS. They made 75 of them, followed as well by the GT2 RS Club Sport, of which they made 200, but unrestricted, not for a race series, full all-out race car for fun track days. Ferrari LaFerrari, obviously one of 499. We then have an unusual trio down here. We've got the Escort RS Cosworth, which has always been a very cool thing. We have a 964 that I believe is a 30th anniversary, but I think perhaps with the RSR wing maybe on the back of it, not entirely sure, and an Auburn to finish off the line on this side. A little bit different, hey, as part of the Concurso de Elegancia out here. Just look at this though, the yachts, the sunset. This is a beautiful, spectacular place to be with the cars this evening. I mean, just look at this as we walk past. That is stunningly beautiful, and that's stunning in a very different way. These are two completely different cars that have also been quite defining. This was the beautiful Ferrari of the 60s, that open-top motoring experience. That is the wild, radical Lamborghini of the 2000s, 2010s. It's a completely different prospect and vehicle to that. Just in great company together. Also here though, we have the GTA Spano, a Spanish hypercar that I actually rode in at the Goodwood Festival of Speed a fair few years ago in one of these. Great to see that as part of the event, and alongside it, the Marc Philippe Gambale Marcian, the car that I've actually seen pretty much around the entire world now, based on the 911 Turbo S, but with a completely new reworked suspension system, over 800 horsepower, and a lot about this that I think in the not too distant future we're going to be hearing a lot more about, so stay tuned for that as well. What a beautiful evening here. Sun setting off in the distance. Look at that view. Absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. What a place to be. With the cars, with the live music, enjoying the event. How incredible is this? A Ferrari 250 California heading off into the night. Original, genuine California. Followed, dim headlights, or bright headlights I should say, in the dim light by P1 Chassis 1 ready to go out next. It's such a lovely colour on that. Such an awesome colour. The bike rolling out as well. And next, rolls on the Cosworth. Off it goes. It is time to head out, and we are following the 964 for a late night cruise around the port here, driving in this thing, and there's quite the crowd, so let's very carefully do this. This is a little bit crazy here, to be completely honest. I'm not complaining though. Going to the party and not even being able to have a drink because of driving this, I would say there are worse decisions to have to make. I would happily do that again and again and again, and the yachts here are absolutely lively. Everybody having a bit of a party. Let me pop it back into manual as we drive past the restaurants, the music, the loud vibes. He just stepped out into the road in front of me. Gotta be very careful crawling through here. It's funny to think that 10 years ago or so, I came car spotting here. I think I actually sat at a table on this corner, watching the world go by. We've got a Portofino, G-Wagons, and now here driving in something I could never have imagined ever being lucky enough to drive. But here we are. If you had told me the day I filmed this car for the first time that one day I might be here driving it. Hey, how's it going? I would never have believed it, but here we are. Here we are driving it. I wonder how many people I'm driving past right now actually know what this car is, because I suspect the vast majority know it's a Lamborghini, but know very little more than that, because you'd never have seen it. And it's 10 years or so old now, right? Out of the port we go. So, back on the road, and with no sunglasses now because it's night. So I'm rather hoping my eyes are going to be all right. We definitely need a bit of lift system and a bit of a gentle squeeze through here. I think we're gonna be okay. Super carefully does it. Oh, that downshift. Back under the tunnel, drop it to first gear. Okay, it's getting pretty windy now. It's drivable though, so long as we're not going to motorway speeds, I am completely fine. Okay, now it's pretty windy. Now it's pretty hardcore. 80 kilometers an hour. And you wouldn't want to do this for long, because it's really quite intense on the eyes. But for a short bit, we can manage fine. Oh man. At the end of the day, you've got to respect something like this. You've got to treat the value with respect, the rarity with respect, and the opportunity to drive the car with respect. I would love to just go out and be a hooligan, but to be allowed to drive something like this, which of course hasn't done huge numbers of miles and carries the value it does, is such a rare thing that, again, it's thanks to the owner for making it possible, for allowing me to drive this and to share with you what it's like right now. What's it actually like when you drive the Aventador J? You know, normally it's an Aventador SVJ. This is the Aventador J. The one. The only one. And park brake on. We come to the end of the drive. Switched off, and this is impossible to describe. This is such a special opportunity. This is, if you ask me in the future, kind of top automotive experiences that I never thought could ever be possible. Driving this car. While I'm sat in here, I have to show you a little bit more of the perspective you have inside the Aventador J, the periscope that you have for that rear view mirror, a tiny mirror, but you can actually see a little bit behind you. Over to the side, we have a very nice view in the mirror, the Chiron Supersport. A lot of this is familiar, this style and layout over the dashboard, but the central tunnel, all completely different. The controls here are, again, similar. We do actually have the AC control, I apologise, in here. You've got your mode selector, Strada, Sport and Corsa, and then this painted tunnel in the Rosso J that goes through between the rear buttresses, where there's a bit of space back there, along with the harnesses, the only seatbelt option that you have inside, and then these pads in the carbon fibre buckets in the seat that's familiar from the later derivatives of the Aventador, the SV and onwards. But this carbon skin over the dash, the traditional Lamborghini controls, and the general feel of it all with this fixed in place screen that runs around. There's no ability to raise or lower the glass, and those low cut, low slung pieces, I don't know how to describe them, windscreens over each side. Then to pop open the doors, as with the Aventador, there's a handle just here. Pop that open, it swings out, and you have the Aventador J door sills. This has been quite a thing to experience. I am not going to lie. to drive in this very, very, very special car. Back outside then, and it's the paint color on this that's so stunning. The design of it, the edgy angles, the familiar Lamborghini design DNA, these extra pieces down below, the quad exhaust tailpipes with the shapes that they have for each of those back there. This is entirely for airflow management, for the cooling, allowing the air out from this, the power plant going on back there, the Ypsilon Y shape across the top of that strut and support. You can see the pushrod suspension exposed as well over the top. Quick, easy access, arguably, to the engine bay areas within. It's just a mad, mad machine in every way when you take in the details. You still have the storage space up front, familiar from the Aventador. You're not going to be fitting a lot of luggage in there, but I doubt you're going to be driving this on a very long distance journey either. For a drive like today, though, to soak up the experience and to take it all in, that's what the Aventador J, the Yota, does in such a unique way. And it was such a big part of the story for Lamborghini. It's crazy for me because without a car like this, and for me filming this back when it was introduced, was such a big part of Shmee150, of my channel, of where everything has gone. And it's such a vivid memory for me, even though it was still actually quite a long time ago now. And even beyond that, without a car like this, Lamborghini wouldn't be where they are now. In fact, many manufacturers wouldn't be. This was a big part of showing the demand from customers for bespoke one-off cars, and Lamborghini have only made 5 in modern times, and it started with this, the J, then the Alston, the SE20 that came, and the 2 more recent introductions as well. But not even just Lamborghini, so many manufacturers, and it's such an iconic machine. I remember when the first pictures dropped, and it almost was like, that can't really be a car that somebody's brave enough, or Lamborghini are brave enough to introduce. It didn't make sense, it wasn't possible. Yet here it is. And as I said, if you had told me back when I was, trying to squeeze my camera through the crowds to point it and film this exact car, this car, that in 11 and a half years' time, I might be lucky enough to get behind the wheel of it, I would definitely have said, you've got to be kidding. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. And here we are. And with the people who have made this possible, I can't say thank you enough to the owner of the car, to the team at Magna Supercars. It's been an amazing event, and we've still got some more to come. And to drive this, which maybe for some of the more recent viewers might not be a car that you know so well because it's quite old now, but to anybody who was following the supercar world back at the time, this was and is a legend. It's an epic machine. And I need to go away and kind of pinch myself a few times to believe that today has really happened, even in the company of some of the cars that we're in here right now as well. I think that's it for now, though. Thank you again to everyone here, to the owner, to all of you guys for your support, because even a cruise in this is mind-blowing, absolute mind-blowing. True realization of being very lucky to get behind the wheel of something like this. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support an awful lot, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.